Have you ever met someone and felt, deep down, that something about them didn't add up, but you couldn't explain why? Maybe they smiled too wide, complimented you too quickly, or told you exactly what you wanted to hear. For a moment you believed them. Then later, they proved you wrong. That feeling? That's your instinct trying to warn you. But instincts alone aren't enough. You need tools. Because in today's world, people are polished. They know how to fake charm, fake confidence, even fake kindness. And if you don't know how to read them fast, you'll pay the price in wasted trust, wasted time, and wasted energy. Machiavelli once wrote that men are ungrateful. Fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. Harsh? Maybe, but brutally honest. He understood that most people wear masks, and those masks slip only when you know what to look for. The art of reading people is not about being paranoid or manipulative. It's about protecting yourself. It's about seeing truth where others see performance. It's about decoding the signs most people ignore so you don't get blindsided by betrayal, disappointment, or hidden agendas. Think about it. Every person you meet shapes your future in some way. A friend can become your greatest ally or your deepest wound. A partner can build you up or break you down. A co-worker can lift your career or sabotage it silently. The stakes are higher than most people admit. And yet, most walk through life blind, believing words instead of studying actions, listening to tone instead of watching patterns. That ends today. Because I'm about to hand you 14 powerful, Machiavellian-inspired tactics for reading people like an open book. Each one is sharp, simple, and deeply revealing. These aren't party tricks. They're survival skills. They will help you see past the polished mask and into the raw truth underneath. But I'll warn you, once you learn these, you can't unsee them. You'll start noticing things you used to overlook. The nervous twitch when someone lies, the quiet cruelty in how they treat strangers, the way they change when they think no one's watching. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. But over time, you'll see it for what it is. Freedom. Freedom from fake friends. Freedom from manipulators. Freedom from heartbreak that could have been avoided. So, if you're ready to walk through life sharper, safer, and harder to deceive, listen closely. Here are the 14 Machiavellian tactics to read people fast, clean, and without illusion. Point 1. Watch how they treat the invisible. If you really want to know who someone is, don't watch how they treat you. That's too easy to fake. People know how to smile at you, how to flatter you, how to act nice when they see something in you they want. The real test, the one Machiavelli himself taught, is to watch how they treat the people they believe don't matter. The waiter, the janitor, the Uber driver, the intern nobody notices. Think about it. When someone is standing in front of power, in front of money, in front of someone they want to impress, of course, they put on their best mask. But when they think no one is watching, when they believe they're safe to drop the performance, that's when the truth slips out. Do they show respect to the powerless? Or do they switch into cruelty, arrogance, dismissal? Machiavelli knew something most of us forget. Power doesn't corrupt in big explosions. It corrupts in whispers, in small moments, in the tiny choices people make when they think there's nothing to gain. That's when the mask falls and their future treatment of you is revealed. Because here's the brutal truth. The way they treat the powerless is a preview of how they'll treat you the second your value drops. Picture this. You're out at dinner with someone new. They laugh at your jokes, compliment your ideas, make you feel seen. But when the waiter messes up the order, they snap, roll their eyes, maybe even embarrass the server. In that instant, you're not seeing their manners. You're seeing their nature. That's who they really are when they think they're above someone. And one day, when they stop needing you, that's exactly how they'll treat you. This isn't paranoia, it's protection. Because people can fake kindness upward, but they rarely fake kindness downward. There's no incentive. Respect toward equals or superiors can be strategy. Respect toward the powerless, that's character. So start paying attention. Watch the tiny interactions. The way they greet the receptionist. The way they talk about people who aren't in the room. The way they handle someone with nothing to offer. These micro moments tell you more than hours of conversation ever could. Machiavelli's first tactic isn't just a clever trick, it's a filter. one that separates pretenders from the real thing. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Point 2, silence them and watch the mask. Slip here's a secret most people never realize. Silence is louder than words. People think they hate silence because it's boring. But the truth? They fear silence because in silence they can't hide. Their mask starts to slip. Think about it. In everyday conversations, most people rush to fill every pause. They joke, they brag, they over-explain. Not because the moment really needs words, but because they're terrified of what you might see if things get quiet. Insecurity thrives in noise. Silence is pressure. And under pressure, people reveal themselves. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He didn't outtalk people. He outweighted them. He understood that if you speak less, if you let your words fall and then just hold the pause, people will scramble to fill the gap. And in that scramble, they'll betray their fears, their motives, their weaknesses. Try it sometime. Next time you're in a conversation, say less than you usually would.
Ask a question, then stay silent longer than feels natural.
Don't nod, don't rush, don't rescue the moment. Just let the silence breathe.
Watch what happens.
Within seconds, most people can't stand it. They'll overshare, they'll try to impress you. They'll reveal things they'd normally keep hidden. It's like holding up a mirror they didn't agree to look into. The more they talk, the more you see the cracks in the mask. The nervous laugh, the sudden rambling, the little contradictions they didn't plan to reveal. Silence pulls truth out the way fire pulls smoke out of wood. And here's the powerful part. You don't have to do anything aggressive.
No confrontation.
No interrogation. Just patience. You control the tempo, and they reveal themselves without realizing it. That's why Machiavelli considered silence a weapon.
Not emptiness. Not absence. Pressure. Now imagine the advantage this gives you.
While everyone else is trying to impress, trying to dominate the conversation, you're learning. You're gathering information. You're watching how people behave when they can't rely on their rehearsed scripts. And once you've seen what they're hiding, you can't be fooled by their surface anymore. Silence doesn't just make you powerful, it makes you unpredictable. Because while others are spilling themselves into the air, you remain unreadable, while reading everything about them. So the next time you want to see through someone, don't talk louder. Go quiet. Let the mask slip. Point 3, control your reactions, control the game. Here's something most people never admit. Power isn't about what people do to you. It's about how you respond. The moment someone can pull a reaction out of you, anger, jealousy, desperation, they own you. You've handed them the strings to your emotion. And once someone can move your emotions, they can move your decisions. Think about it. A coworker insults you in front of the team.
Your face turns red, your voice shakes, and you fire back. Everyone sees it.
You think you defended yourself, but in reality, you showed them that your mood, your confidence, your dignity can be stolen in seconds. You gave them proof that they can push you whenever they want. That's why Machiavelli insisted the strongest person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one who stays unshaken when provoked. Because if you can master your reactions, you instantly rise above the chaos. You show that your center of gravity is inside you, not in anyone else's hands. This doesn't mean you suppress everything. It means you choose. You stop letting the outside world dictate how you feel.
Someone inside.
You decide whether it's worth energy.
Someone ignores you.
You decide whether it matters.
Someone betrays you.
You decide whether to respond with patience, distance, or strategy. Not with blind rage. It's like being the calm captain in a storm. Everyone else is panicking, shouting, blaming, but your hands are steady on the wheel. People notice, and without you saying a word, they start to follow your lead. Why? Because control is magnetic. It's rare. Most people don't have it. Here's the truth. Anger makes you predictable. Jealousy makes you weak. Desperation makes you easy to control. But calmness? Calmness makes you untouchable. It frustrates your enemies, it confuses manipulators, and it earns the quiet respect of everyone watching. So next time someone tries to get under your skin, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, if I react the way they want, who wins? That pause alone shifts the power back to you. You're no longer the puppet, you're the one cutting the strings. Machiavelli understood this simple rule. If you can control your reactions, you control the game. Because no one can shake a person who chooses their emotions instead of renting them out to the world. Point 4. Silence is a weapon. Most people think power comes from speaking, from shouting, from proving their point. But here's the twist. Real power often comes from silence. Why? Because silence forces others to reveal themselves. Think about an argument. One person is yelling, losing control, saying things they'll regret. The other? Quiet, calm, watching. Who looks stronger? Who holds the tension? Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you refuse to give away your hand too soon. Machiavelli knew that silence creates mystery, and mystery creates fear. If people don't know what you're thinking, they start imagining it. And usually, their imagination punishes them more than your words ever could. That's why the most dangerous leaders aren't the ones who scream orders. They're the ones who speak little. And when they finally do, every word carries weight. Look at how manipulators work. They push and prod, waiting for your reaction. But if you give them silence, they lose their grip.
They can't read you, they can't twist your word.
They're forced to sit in the discomfort of not knowing.
And that right there is power. Silence also buys you time.
Time to think. Time to choose your words carefully. Time to calculate instead of rushing. Most mistakes are born from speaking too quickly, defending too hard, revealing too much. Silence keeps you from giving away your strategy for free. But here's the emotional punch. Silence also protects your dignity. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every rumor deserves your defense. When you stay silent, you show the world you're above the noise. You're not here to wrestle in the mud with every critic. You're here to move with purpose. Of course, silence must be used with wisdom. Too much and you seem cold or weak. But in the right moments, silence is louder than thunder. Imagine someone betrays you.
Instead of exploding, you go quiet.
You watch, you plan. By the time they realize what's coming, it's too late.
That's not rude.
That's strategy. So remember this. Your words are arrows. Once they're fired, you can't take them back. But silence? Silence is a shield. It protects you, confuses enemies, and makes allies respect your control. When you learn to weaponize silence, you no longer play on other people's terms. You set the pace. You own the room. You win without shouting, and that's the highest form of power. Point 5. The power of patience. In a world addicted to speed, patience feels like weakness. Everyone wants results today. Money fast, fame overnight, revenge immediately. But here's the truth. Patience isn't weakness. Patience is strategy. It's the weapon of those who understand the long game. Think of a hunter. He doesn't run screaming through the forest chasing prey. He waits, silent, still, watching. The impatient hunter starves, but the patient one eats. Life works the same way. The impatient blow up at small insults, chase temporary wins, waste energy proving themselves. The patient, they conserve energy, strike only when the moment is right, and always get more than they lost. History proves this. The most dangerous leaders weren't the fastest. They were the most patient. They waited years, even decades, building power slowly, piece by piece, until the world had no choice but to bow. Patience gave them control over timing, and timing decides everything. Here's the emotional twist. Patience also protects you from self-destruction. How many times have people ruined relationships, careers, or opportunities because they couldn't wait, because they needed instant answers, instant success, instant revenge? Patience forces you to pause. It keeps you from decisions you'll regret. It saves you from burning your future just to satisfy your present anger. But don't confuse patience with passivity. Patience isn't sitting around doing nothing. It's active waiting. It's preparation. It's sharpening your sword every day so that when the right moment arrives, you don't hesitate. Impatient people swing dull blades. The patient strike once, and it's enough. Think of a chess master. He doesn't rush to win in 3 moves. He sets traps, builds pressure, sacrifices pieces when necessary, all to corner his opponent in the end game. That's patience, not slow but precise. Every move calculated, every delay intentional. The emotional power of patience is this: it makes you unshakable. While others are panicking, chasing, exhausting themselves, you are calm, steady. You know that what's meant for you can't be stolen, only delayed. That calmness itself becomes intimidating because nothing rattles you, nothing pulls you off balance. So remember, the impatient chase shadows and collapse. The patient choose their moment, and when they finally act, the world feels the impact. Patience isn't just waiting. Patience is power in disguise. Point 6, discipline over motivation. Motivation feels good. It's the spark, the rush of energy when you watch a video, hear a speech, or get inspired by someone else's success. But here's the brutal truth. Motivation fades. It burns hot, then disappears, leaving you right where you started. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is the engine that moves you forward whether you're inspired or not. Think of a soldier. He doesn't wake up at 4 a.m. because he feels like it. He does it because it's his duty, his rhythm, his discipline. Feelings are irrelevant. The mission matters more. If he waited for motivation, the war would already be lost. This is where most people fail. They build lives around emotions, not systems. They say, I'll work when I feel like it. I'll study when I'm in the mood. I'll go to the gym when I'm motivated. But moods are unstable. They rise and fall like weather. Discipline is the structure that survives every storm. Discipline doesn't just create results, it creates freedom. Imagine this: you discipline yourself to save money.
At first, it feels like restriction.
But years later, when emergencies come, when opportunities appear, you're free because you prepared. Or discipline in health. While others are breaking under stress and sickness, you are strong. Not because of luck, but because of years of consistent choices. Here's the emotional punch. Discipline is self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you send your brain a message: I can trust me. That trust builds confidence, and confidence builds power. People who live on motivation never build that trust. They lie to themselves daily. Tomorrow I'll change, tomorrow I'll start. And their own mind stops believing them. Discipline rewrites that story, and don't mistake discipline for punishment. Discipline is a gift you give your future self. It's the invisible hand pulling you toward the person you want to become. Think of a sculptor. He doesn't wait for inspiration to strike before carving. He shows up every day, chisel in hand, shaping stone until beauty emerges. That's discipline. The world respects the discipline because they're rare. Anyone can start strong, but few can stay consistent when the fire of motivation burns out. Discipline makes you unstoppable, not because you're the fastest or the loudest, but because you're the one still standing when everyone else has quit. So here's your reminder: motivation may start the journey, but only discipline finishes it. Build routines that don't ask how you feel. Build systems that make quitting harder than continuing. When discipline rules your life, nothing outside you has the power to stop you. Point 7, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Most people live chasing outcomes. They want the money, the body, the success, the recognition. But here's the tragedy: when you only chase the result, you end up empty. Because results are temporary. You hit the target once and then what? You're back to zero, hungry again, lost again. The Stoics, and every great achiever in history, understood something deeper. Greatness isn't built in the goal. It's built in the process. The habits, the repetitions, the boring, unglamorous grind that no one claps for. That's where transformation hides. Think of a farmer. He doesn't stare at the soil screaming for crops to grow. He plants, waters, tills, waits. Day after day, process after process. And then the harvest comes. The outcome is not magic. It's the result of loyalty to the process. But here's the emotional sting. Most people quit because the process feels invisible. You go to the gym for 2 weeks and nothing changes in the mirror. You study for months and the results don't show up yet. You work on your craft and nobody notices, so you stop. And when you stop, you erase the compound effect that was about to change everything. The process is not supposed to give you instant gratification. It's supposed to build patience, resilience, and character. That's why it hurts.
That's why it feels slow.
Because it's carving a stronger version of you. Focus on outcomes and you'll burn out. Focus on process and you'll outlast everyone.
Athletes don't win medals because they dream of gold.
They win because they show up to practice, rain or shine, and fall in love with the routine. Writers don't publish masterpieces because they waited for inspiration. They sat down day after day, filling blank pages, even when the words felt broken. Here's the truth. The process is the reward. The outcome is just a byproduct. When you learn to love the training, the sweat, the setbacks, you become dangerous.
Because then nothing can stop you.
Wins and losses don't define you anymore. The work itself does, so stop obsessing over the scale, the paycheck, the applause.
Ask yourself, am I faithful to the process? That's all that matters.
Because the one who stays with the process will always meet the outcome. And when they do, they'll be ready to hold it without fear of losing it. The world remembers champions, but champions are built in silence, and silence belongs to the process. Point 8. Detach from what you can't control. Most of the pain you feel doesn't come from reality itself. It comes from your need to control the uncontrollable.
You want people to like you.
You want the deal to go through. You want the weather to match your plans. You want life to follow your script. But life doesn't care about your script. And every time you cling tighter, you suffer harder. The Stoics gave us one of the simplest, most liberating truths ever spoken. Some things are up to us, and some things are not.
That's it.
That one line can free you from years of anxiety. What's up to you?
Your effort.
Your attitude, your choices, your response. What's not up to you? Other people's opinions, the economy, the past, the future. 1,000 random events you could never predict or control. Yet here's the mistake. Most people flip the script. They obsess over what isn't theirs to command, and they neglect what is. They fight to change other people while ignoring their own habits. They worry about the outcome of the battle but forget to sharpen their sword. They drown in stress over shadows while leaving their own light dim. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering over what you cannot bend. You still give your best. You still show up with fire. But when the outcome comes, good or bad, you accept it as fate, not failure. Think about a warrior in the arena. He cannot control his opponent's strength. He cannot control the roar of the crowd. He cannot control the judgment of the emperor. But he can control his preparation, his stance, his courage, and that's all that matters. Because focusing on the controllable makes him unbeatable, even in defeat. Here's the emotional truth. When you cling to what's beyond you, you bleed twice, once from reality and once from your resistance to it. But when you let go, the bleeding stops. Peace enters. You realize the storm can rage outside, but inside you are untouchable. Detachment is freedom. It's looking at rejection and saying,
That's not my weight to carry. It's facing uncertainty and saying, I'll control my effort, not the result. It's losing something, still standing tall, because you know nothing outside of you can ever destroy the strength inside of you. The world is chaos.
But you can choose to be calm.
That's real power.
Point 9, turn pain into power. Life will hurt you. That's a promise.
People will betray you.
Dreams will collapse. Plans will fail. Loss will knock on your door when you least expect it. Most people see pain as punishment.
They drown in it.
They ask, why me? They let suffering break them. But the wise, the 1%, they turn pain into power. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They embraced it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, your obstacles aren't blocking you.
They're shaping you.
Your wounds aren't just scars. They're blueprints of your strength. Think about it. Every person you admire is forged by fire. The strongest leaders, the most resilient survivors, the most inspiring souls, none of them were made in comfort. They were tested, broken, and rebuilt stronger. Pain has two doors. One door leads to despair, the endless cycle of anger, bitterness, and regret. The other door leads to transformation, wisdom, grit, and unshakable resolve. Which door you walk through isn't decided by fate. It's decided by choice. Your heartbreak can destroy your trust. or teach you what real love requires. Your failure can make you quit or make you more focused than ever. Your losses can hollow you out or carve you into someone deeper, someone who can carry more weight than before. Here's the emotional punch. Pain is a teacher that doesn't whisper, it screams. It rips away your illusions. It forces you to face who you are when comfort is gone. And that's when you discover your strength was never in avoiding suffering. It was in surviving it. Ask yourself, what if every struggle in your life wasn't happening to you but for you? What if every scar was a story of survival? What if every heartbreak was training your heart to love stronger? What if every failure was setting you up for something bigger?
To turn pain,
To refuse to let life's cruelty shrink you? To use every cut, every loss, every disappointment as fuel? You cannot control when pain comes, but you can control what you do with it. And when you decide to rise instead of collapse, your suffering becomes your superpower. Remember this, comfort makes you soft.
pain makes you
Point 9, turn pain into power life will hurt you, that's a promise.
People will betray you.
Dreams will collapse, plans will fail, loss will knock on your door when you least expect it. Most people see pain as punishment.
They drown in it.
They ask, why me? They let suffering break them. But the wise, the 1%, they turn pain into power. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They embraced it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, your obstacles aren't blocking you.
They're shaping you.
Your wounds aren't just scars. They're blueprints of your strength. Think about it. Every person you admire is forged by fire. The strongest leaders, the most resilient survivors, the most inspiring souls, none of them were made in comfort. They were tested, broken, and rebuilt stronger. Pain has two doors. One door leads to despair, the endless cycle of anger, bitterness, and regret. The other door leads to transformation, wisdom, grit, and unshakable resolve. Which door you walk through isn't decided by fate. It's decided by choice. Your heartbreak can destroy your trust or teach you what real love requires. Your failure can make you quit or make you more focused than ever. Your losses can hollow you out or carve you into someone deeper, someone who can carry more weight than before. Here's the emotional punch. Pain is a teacher that doesn't whisper. It screams. It rips away your illusions. It forces you to face who you are when comfort is gone. And that's when you discover your strength was never in avoiding suffering. It was in surviving it. Ask yourself, what if every struggle in your life wasn't happening to you but for you? What if every scar was a story of survival? What if every heartbreak was training your heart to love stronger? What if every failure was setting you up for something bigger?
To turn pain,
To refuse to let life's cruelty shrink you? To use every cut, every loss, every disappointment as fuel? You cannot control when pain comes, but you can control what you do with it. And when you decide to rise instead of collapse, your suffering becomes your superpower. Remember this, comfort makes you soft.
pain makes you
Point 11, ask what they hate. If you want to read someone's soul fast, don't ask them what they love.
Ask them what they hate. Love is too easy to
People rehearse it. They know the right answers. Family, honesty, loyalty, hard work. Those words are masks. But hate is raw. It slips out before they can polish it. And the moment they reveal it, you see the reflection of their darkest self. Machiavelli understood this. When someone tells you what they despise in others, they are often confessing the very thing they're running from inside themselves. Think about it. The guy who says, "I can't stand liars."
often the most skilled liar in the room.
The girl who insists, "I hate arrogant people."
Usually carries a silent, swollen ego.
The one who proclaims, "I hate weakness." Deeply terrified of being seen as weak. Their judgment is a mirror. Their hate is a confession. And here's why this tactic is so lethal. People don't even realize they're exposing themselves. They think they're venting, being authentic, showing you their values. But really, they're giving you the blueprint to their insecurities. Pay attention not just to the words, but to the fire behind them. What makes their eyes harden?
What makes their tone sharpen?
What behavior lights up their disgust?
It's not about the outside world.
That's about the battle inside them. Here's a secret. What we hate most in others is often what we secretly fear in ourselves.
That's why hate is magnetic. It's never random.
It's tied to our own shadow, so when you ask someone, what kind of people do you dislike? Don't just listen, decode. If they say, I hate selfish people, what they're really telling you is that they fear being seen as selfish. If they say, I hate fakes, what they're saying is that they wear a mask of their own. Now why does this matter? Because once you know what someone hates, you know where their defenses live. You know what triggers them, what blinds them, what can be used against them if you must. But it's not only about strategy, it's about protection. If someone's hate list is long, detailed, and venomous, that's a dangerous sign. It means they're ruled by resentment, and resentment always seeks a target. Sooner or later, that target could be you. Remember this. Admiration is a costume. Hate is the truth. Ask the question once, and you'll see more of someone's inner world than years of small talk ever could. Point 12, look at what breaks their eye. Contact. The eyes are liars when they want to be. A smile can be forced. Words can be rehearsed. But the eyes, they betray the truth in an instant. Machiavelli believed that when you really want to read someone, don't just notice when they look at you, notice when they look away. Because the exact moment the eyes break tells you what they're hiding. Think about it. Direct eye contact is power. It's control. It's a declaration of confidence. But when that contact suddenly breaks, when their gaze twitches, shifts, or drops, it's not random. It's a leak. It's a crack in the mask. Mention money and they glance down. They carry shame or insecurity about it. Bring up status and they look away. They fear being outshined. Talk about past failures and their eyes dart. You've hit the wound they've been guarding. The eyes are not just the window to the soul. They're the emergency exit of suppressed emotion. Here's what most people don't get. Avoidance isn't weakness, it's revelation. Every flicker of the eyes is a breadcrumb trail to their hidden fears. While the mouth says, I'm fine, the eyes whisper, I'm not. And it happens fast, in fractions of a second. But once you learn to watch for it, you'll never unsee it. A brag followed by a downward glance. That confidence is borrowed, not real.
A denial followed by a sideways twitch. That's guilt leaking out. Silence paired with dart.
That's fear of exposure. The genius of this tactic is its subtlety. You don't confront them. You don't accuse them. You just note it.
File it away.
Because the moment someone breaks eye contact, they've told you where their defenses live. And knowing that gives you leverage, whether to protect yourself or to apply pressure when you need the truth. But here's the emotional punch. Sometimes the eyes don't just reveal weakness, they reveal humanity. The person who looks away when talking about love isn't necessarily lying. They might just be wounded. The one who can't meet your gaze when speaking about failure might not be guilty, they might just be haunted. The eyes tell stories, the tongue can't. Machiavelli knew that when the mask slips, it always slips through the gaze. Learn to track the moment it breaks, and you'll see not just who someone is, but what they fear most. Point 13, notice what they laugh at. Laughter is never neutral. It looks like play, it feels like relief, but deep down, it's a confession. What makes someone laugh tells you exactly where their shadow lives. Machiavelli knew if you want to uncover a person's true character, don't just listen to what they say in serious moments, watch what slips out when they laugh. Because laughter is the one sound the mask can't fully disguise. Pay attention. Some people laugh hardest when someone else fails. That's not just humor, that's envy and superiority leaking out. They don't laugh because it's funny. They laugh because deep down, they feel taller when someone else shrinks. Others laugh only at cruelty, at humiliation, at someone being embarrassed. That laugh is a confession of their hunger for domination. Then there are those who laugh at themselves, not as self-awareness, but as armor. They weaponize humor to hide pain, to distract you from the insecurity gnawing beneath. Their laugh is a shield, Orby, and if you listen carefully, you'll hear the crack in it, and don't overlook when they laugh. Imagine you're sharing something serious, something raw, and they laugh too quickly, too awkwardly.
That's not comedy, that's discomfort.
It's the nervous system trying to smother truth. They don't know how to hold depth, so they laugh to escape it. That escape reveals what they cannot face. But here's where the Machiavellian twist comes in. If you want to control someone, feed the laughter they crave.
Mirror it, amplify it.
If they laugh at gossip, give them more gossip. If they laugh at cruelty, give them a crueler story.
Laughter is bonding.
People trust those who share their humor, even if that humor is poison. Yet if you want wisdom instead of power, use laughter as diagnosis. The cynic laughs at sincerity because sincerity threatens him. The insecure laughs at greatness because greatness reminds her of her lack. The bitter laughs at love because love abandoned him. Every laugh has roots, and if you trace them, you'll find the hidden wound or the hidden weapon. Laughter is never just a joke, it's a signal. It tells you what a person celebrates, what they secretly enjoy, and most dangerously, what they want to see destroyed. Watch it closely and you'll uncover truths they never meant to share. Point 14, watch how they treat the powerless. If you really want to see someone's true nature, don't watch how they act with equals or superiors. Watch how they behave with people who can't fight back. That's the X-ray of character. Anyone can be polite to a boss.
Anyone can charm a client.
Anyone can pretend to be humble in front of someone richer, stronger, or more admired.
That's not morality, it's strategy.
The real test is what happens when the masks come off, when they face the powerless, the invisible, the ones society doesn't reward them for respecting. Do they talk kindly to the waiter, or do they snap their fingers and dismiss him? Do they listen to the janitor, or do they act as if his presence doesn't exist? Do they smile at a child with curiosity, or do they treat them as a nuisance? These small interactions reveal the raw truth of who they are, because here there's no stage to perform on, no prize to win. Their actions are unfiltered. The cruel hide behind politeness when it's useful. The arrogant disguise themselves as charming when it's profitable. But when they think no one is watching, when they believe the powerless can't affect their reputation or future, that's when their real soul leaks out. And if you look closely, you'll see it's usually uglier than the mask they wear in public. Machiavelli understood true power is revealed in the spaces where you don't need to perform. That's why tyrants love humiliating servants, not because it gains them anything, but because it feeds their need to dominate. It's also why the genuinely strong rarely feel the need to crush the weak. They already know their power. They don't need to flaunt it. Here's the Machiavellian wisdom for you. If someone treats the powerless with cruelty, they will treat you with cruelty the moment you lose your advantage. If someone treats the powerless with respect, even when no one is watching, you've found someone with discipline, and discipline is rarer than kindness. So don't waste time analyzing grand speeches, polished behaviors, or rehearsed displays of virtue. Study the micro moments. The way someone speaks to a stranger who doesn't matter. That's where the mask slips, because in the end, power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. And the powerless, ironically, are the mirror that shows you who someone really is.